Bubba Ho-tep, it's time that you ended your soul-sucking ways, or I ain't Elvis Presley.
Bubba Ho-tep, I'm here to stop your soul-sucking ways, TCB. Or I'm not Elvis Presley.
Well, that's the thing, baby. You're not Elvis, because I'm supposed to be Elvis in this scene.
I'm always the monster, so this time I'm Elvis.
You think that we would have talked this out before we got in front of the camera? But I don't think so.
No!
Elvis does things alive, baby.
Oh yeah!
The King versus the King of the Dead, Bubba Ho-tep. Welcome back to Entertainment Rebooted. Specifically, welcome back to another episode of Cinema B-Visited, where we watch the crappy, the crummy, the comedically amazing B-movies. And we tell you the bad, the ugly, and the worst. I am, of course, joined by my esteemed co-host, Pat the Great and Overpowered. As I said before, Pat, we watched Bubba Ho-tep. For those of you who haven't been graced by this silver screen monstrosity.
Masterpiece.
We'll go with that.
Masterstrosity.
That's probably more accurate. Let's go ahead. Let's recap the plot. Take it away, Pat.
The king is not dead. He's living in a retirement home in Texas. Elvis is in a retirement home.
Nope.
Uh,
After having broken his hip and gone into a
coma for 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
his roommate dies. Then a scarab beetle comes and attacks a lady. She dies. He's talking to his friend, John F. Kennedy.
Jack Kennedy.
Yep, that.
So what happened to Jack? Why is it that nobody notices that there's two celebrities in this retirement home? Pat, why is that?
No one recognizes JFK because they took his brain out and put a bag of sand in there, and they dyed his skin.
This is in addition to the fact that even though Elvis is there, everybody assumes that he's a man by the name of, was it Stephen Hoff?
Samuel Hayworth.
Samuel Haff.
Haff, yeah.
Yeah, Samuel
Haff.
Simon
Haff.
Simon Haff. They assume that his name is actually Simon Haff and he was an Elvis impersonator.
Yes.
But secretly, Elvis switched himself out. So he's Elvis playing Simon playing Elvis.
Yes.
People think that he's Simon, this impersonator who broke his hip on stage and went into a coma for 20 years, and that he just has a few screws loose when he finally admits that he's actually Elvis.
Yep.
Go ahead and take it from here, Pat. What happens to our heroes, Elvis Presley and Jack Kennedy?
Sorry. That it got me again. So
yeah.
Jack finds Egyptian graffiti in the visitor's bathroom, which leads him to believe that it's not Lyndon B. Johnson stalking the halls trying to kill him, but the Egyptian soul sucker who's sucking the life out of the other residents to extend his life.
And how is he doing that?
He's
How is he sucking the souls out of these elderly people?
According to JFK, you can suck the soul out of them. Well, according to JFK's book, the soul can be sucked out of any major orifice of the human body, including the rear end.
That's right. Elvis Presley and John F. Kennedy are combining forces to fight a soul-sucking mummy who is sucking the souls of the retired people in this home
out of their
rear ends. That really is kind of like, that's like the overarching plot of the story.
Yep.
Really, like, chaos ensues. There's some good comedic moments in it.
Yeah.
They eventually fight said mummy.
They fight the mummy in the middle of the night near a creek bed.
Because the mummy comes from the creek bed because there was a bus that people who had stolen his sarcophagus had taken it and put it in a bus, and then took that bus and wrecked the bus
During a giant storm.
And as a result, his sarcophagus is in the creek bed by this retirement home. But because he's by this retirement home, it's a perfect plan for him. Because nobody cares that all these these old people are dying. They just assume that they're dying of natural causes, and not because of some soul-sucking mummy that's living forever.
Who was cursed.
It's cursed.
Yeah.
But they end up fighting him.
They fight him in the thing, and Elvis tries to. Their plan is to light him on fire.
Because fire purges evil, cleanses evil.
Yes, cleanses evil.
According to the book.
Yeah.
And the book also had like a really bad spell. Trying to protect them. It didn't work. I wonder why.
So, they try to use JFK as bait to lure the mummy out.
Right.
But the mummy notices Elvis standing under a light in his white rhinestone jumpsuit.
Because they have to wear their uniforms. JFK's dressed in his presidential suit. And Elvis is fighting a mummy in his jumpsuit.
With a walker.
Because he broke his hip.
So, he does eventually get him lit on fire, but unfortunately, JFK falls in the fight.
It's true.
And his final lines are, "Your president will die soon. It's up to you to take care of him, Elvis."
So Elvis fights the mummy, lights him on fire once again. Well, after tumbling down a hill, breaking his rib, he lights the mummy on fire again, extinguishing evil. And with that,
he passes away.
But not before the stars rearrange and hieroglyphics for some reason he can read that say all is well.
Yep.
Just hilarity ensues. It's just one of those movies that we went through it really fast, but to be honest, there's very little to this movie.
Yeah, there's not.
As far as like explanation. So we gave you guys like the very brief overview. All right, Pat, let's get into it. Let's get into the bad, the ugly, the worth. What is bad about this movie?
It's very like, it doesn't really flow. It's very like chop, chop, chop.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah. Like you blink and you like completely miss something, but it doesn't matter that you missed it, and it also does matter you missed it.
Yeah, that is one of those things. Like sometimes something happens and it's like in a blink of an eye, but then they kind of hit it again anyway. Yeah. It is just it's kind of jumpy and janky.
Yeah.
It doesn't help that a lot of this movie is in like one shot, two shot, little flashes. So it literally is a thing of like every single time I went over to take a drink of water, I missed a flash. I'm just like, what'd you miss? I don't know.
It's a slow start too.
Yes, this movie, it can be slow at times. Like, it takes a long time. It takes a long time to really get into Elvis and John F. Kennedy are going to fight a mummy. It takes a very, very long time. This movie could have been a lot shorter. It could have been a short film. And it was based off of a short story. So
Elvis and JFK going to fight a mummy.
It's one of those things where let's move into, I guess, the ugly. Okay, what makes this a B movie? We've kind of hit it, I think, a few times.
Yeah.
It's Elvis Presley and John F. Kennedy fighting a mummy in a retirement home.
Yep.
This movie cannot be made seriously. It can't be a serious horror film. It could not be anything outside of goofy comedy.
Yeah.
Like an irreverent comedy. That's what I was looking for. Irreverent comedy. It really is one of those things, man. Like, it's just,
it's
we can't even really talk about like the graphics and stuff like that, because it's just like with a movie like this, I don't really want amazing graphics on the mummy.
no.
Because it's funnier that he's
He looks like beef jerky.
It looks like beef jerky wearing
And
cowboy boots.
He's wearing cowboy boots and a cowboy hat.
Which it never explains like why he does. It never explains why he's wearing this getup. It's just a thing of like he was buried without a name, and that's kind of like part of the reason that he's cursed.
Yep.
But it never explains like, okay, then why is he dressed like a rhinestone cowboy? We never get a line like that.
The only thing I can think of is the people that stole his sarcophagus were wearing that, and he just threw it on like Terminator style, just like, give me your clothes, but they're dead, so he just took them.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe he's just like embodying the spirit of the crick.
Yeah.
That's next to the... This movie, that is like the part that makes this a B movie. It's a ridiculous premise.
Yes.
It is like just, you can't do it seriously. But oh boy, do they do it, and they do it.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk about worth. What makes this worth it, Pat? Is it worth it?
Yeah, I would say it's not one to go out of your way, but like if it just came up, like if you're flipping through channels, I would leave it on.
Yeah. I mean, if you've got 90 minutes to spare.
Yeah. Just The King and JFK versus a mummy.
Yeah, it's worth it if you have 90 minutes to spare. I don't know if I necessarily would say it's worth a rent. We rented it from... It's on Amazon Prime, if you're wondering where
it is.
We rented it from Amazon Prime. I've seen it included with Prime from time to time. I don't know why I rhyme.
It just kind of follows the time.
I mean, it's not crime. We gotta stop. But okay, so it's kind of worth it.
Yeah.
If you're not really paying for it, if you have 90 minutes to spare, what makes it worth it? What is the thing that you would say is like, if somebody has that 90 minutes, if somebody sees that it's free, what makes it worth it? What is the thing that you want them, like, what is the reason that you think that they should watch it?
Truly, it's just, it's kind of the ridiculous of it that just kind of brings the worth to it. Like, it is just so out there. Like,
yeah,
it's not something you're just gonna come across, but like, and it does have some comedic moments in there that just kind of, and some of the greatest insults I have ever read.
Specifically read. You're referring to like the mummy, right?
Yeah,
he has 2 lines. Yeah,
he has 2 lines. They are both insults, and they are magnificent.
It's true. By the unwinking red eye of Raw.
Yeah.
Yep. And then he directly insults Elvis.
Yeah.
Yeah, those are pretty good. I would say that some of the one-liners are pretty fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just one of those movies where it's like the worth of it is to kind of satiate your curiosity.
Yeah.
If you ran across this and you heard the plot and you heard the premise, it's enough that you remember it. Before we watched this movie and we were trying to pick one for the episode today, I was talking to Pat about it. I've been aware of this movie for 4 years, I think, at this point. And as I told you, it's one of those movies where I see it
Yeah.
and I'm curious. And so I remember it. I'm like, oh, I should definitely watch it. And then I forget about it.
Yeah.
But then it comes back around and I'm like, Oh yeah, that movie where
4,000 years
Yeah.
later, like a mummy.
yeah, he just keeps coming back,
Yeah.
just sucking my soul.
Yep. Right through the donut.
You're nasty.
I'm not a mummy. I'm not a mummy.
That's true.
Ugh.
It is one of those things though that I think that the worth of it is just to satiate your curiosity.
Yeah.
I don't think it's worth putting like an investment down. I don't think you need a physical copy of it. Definitely, this is one of those movies. I think.
Do they even make physical copies of this?
Oh, I guarantee they do. It's got to be floating around somewhere. This is 2003 was when this was made. So
okay.
I'm sure that they probably if it has a physical release, it's because it was an immediate physical release. I don't know if this would have
Direct to DVD.
Yeah, I think it probably is a direct to DVD kind of movie, not a theatrical release. I'm not sure though. I haven't looked too much into it. But yes, if you have 90 minutes of free time, you run across it, you're curious, it's worth watching it just to satiate your curiosity.
Yes, definitely.
If we've described the plot to you and after hearing this like brief discussion about it, you're just like, I could go without it, then
Makes complete sense.
yeah, it makes complete sense. You're not actually really missing anything.
No.
If you are curious about it, it is worth watching just so that you watched it.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. Good, bad, ugly, worth. What do we usually talk about after these with the B movie? What's your grade? I do grade this movie.
Could throw it in just B.
Yeah. Yeah. B. It's not bad. It's not one of those movies where it deserves a negative,
yeah.
but it's definitely not.
It's not B plus anything. No, it's just B. It's very on curve.
Yeah. It's very much a 5 out of 10 movie.
Yeah.
I mean, cinematography's not great. It's pretty basic. It's pretty bare bones.
Yeah.
Costuming's fun at times. The dialogue is fun at times. Sometimes it can drag. Sometimes it's a bit boring. It is just a thing of, I think that most of the humor in it is very easy to miss.
Yeah.
If you're not actually paying attention to everything that they're saying, you're going to miss some things. Like, it's John F. Kennedy. He's saying that he's John F. Kennedy. Nobody's 100% sure if he is. But then you go into his room and it's like little details.
It's a really nice room.
It's a very nice room, and it has an awful lot of presidential details for no reason. But then he goes and he says dialogue along the lines of like, oh, I told them that I had them call my niece and drive me
into town so I
town.
can do some research. She's been helping us.
Yeah, and so it's just like, you never meet her, so you don't know if she's like a Kennedy, and nobody ever says anything about it being a Kennedy or anything like that. So it's like, he has a niece that he's in contact with.
Yeah.
And,
or it might be his cover niece.
Oh, it might be a cover niece. It might be just...
He's worried that, at some point, the people in the White House might unplug the battery that's hooked to his brain.
Right. It's things like that. The fact that Elvis literally... He takes the place of an impersonator. That impersonator had a bad heart and died. And
bad heart and drugs.
And drugs. And so even if Elvis had wanted to go back, he couldn't have. Also because the contract burned up in a barbecue accident.
They had a contract that if Elvis wanted to go back, he could go back.
Yeah.
And he lost his copy in a barbecue explosion.
And it's an excessively large explosion.
It's
the entire trailer park goes up.
Like 4 trailers.
Yeah. I mean, it's little things like that. This movie has those pretty solid gags, but it's predictable when the big gags come. Dialogue's relatively solid, but this film's not offensive, but it's not necessarily super duper memorable, I would say.
Yeah.
I don't know. Is there anything else you would like to talk about in regards to Bubba Ho-tep? Like, do we want to talk about how could you possibly make something like this seriously?
Oh.
What are some movies it reminds you of? Anything
Truthfully,
like
I don't think you can go serious with this. Like,
that? Oh, no.
It'd be a hard rewrite.
Yeah.
Like, you'd lose like the core of the film, really.
Yeah. I agree. Like, that's the thing, is just the premise in and of itself. You can't even really like rework the premise to be like, yeah, I can make this better and not a B movie. This movie just screams needs low budget adaptation, because why not?
Yeah.
Casting was on point though in regards to Bruce Campbell.
Bruce Campbell is Elvis.
Bruce Campbell is Elvis.
Yep.
And he does a very good job. His
way better than us.
it is more solid than us. His accent slips from time to time, but it kind of works because
we're not sure if he's actually Elvis or not.
Yeah, for like half the movie, because he makes his explanation. It's just like, that is such a stupid explanation. That's so ridiculous. And then it shows him like in the past doing it. It's like, it's
Did
so
he actually
stupid
do
that
it?
it worked.
Yeah, but is he actually Elvis though, or no?
Right. And it's the same thing with Jack Kennedy. The entire time you're just like, because there's enough there that you're like, okay, with John F. Kennedy thing for sure. Like, he has a scar on the back of his head.
Yeah.
For no reason.
Yep.
He has a scar on the back of his head. His room is covered in JFK stuff.
His room was so much nicer than everyone else's there too. Like,
it is nice. He has his
it's
own
like
private
white
bathroom.
walls. He's got king size bed. He's got like a blue carpet.
Yeah.
He's got a drawer full of candy.
That's just like, he never explains like why there's a drawer full of candy. He has a private bathroom. He has bookshelves that are designed like the bookshelves in the White House.
He's got like an entire model section set up of like the Dallas area where it happened.
Yeah. Like the assassination, he has it all modeled out. He has pictures of Jackie Kennedy and the people that are associated with his assassination, their mugshots.
Yeah.
It's just one of those things where it's like there's so much there that you're just like, it's more believable. Like, you can see it, you can kind of see it, but it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Elvis, where it's like, he probably is just Simon Half, and he has a screw loose because he fell off of a stage.
Yeah.
But then you actually, the way that he explains it, you're like, actually, he really could be Elvis and nobody believes him because of how ridiculous the story is.
Yeah.
Just because he wanted to get out.
Yeah.
So that's just kind of the way that this movie is. It's so ridiculous and out there that you can't take it seriously. You couldn't make it seriously.
No.
And I think that if you even tried to do better graphics and give it a larger budget, it would just be to the detriment of the film.
Yeah. It kind of, this unsteady, like, shaky camera.
Yeah.
Like, it helped. Like, it. Yeah.
This movie, man. This is not the best one we've seen. I think that Iron Skies is still probably the best one we've seen so far.
Yeah.
But millions of light years better than
The Unmentioned.
the Sasquatch that they said was a werewolf. Anyway.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys, so much for watching this video. Unless you have anything else to add, Pat. I mean...
Nah, I'm good.
All right, this is a really quick one then.
Yeah.
If you guys like these videos, be sure to leave us a like. Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Have you seen Bubba Ho-tep? What did you think about it? Also,
Do you have a physical copy?
That's true. Do you
If
actually...
you do, let us know, and I don't know, we'll say hi or like just give you a thumbs up. I want to know, did someone buy the physical copy?
Are you one of the 7 people that hold the sacred copy?
You know who probably has a copy? Bruce Campbell.
I guarantee you he does.
Yeah, he totally has a copy.
They had to have given it to him.
Yeah.
Well, I just gave Bruce Campbell like half of a cent for renting the movie. He has to get some kind of dividend for starring in it.
Bruce Campbell.
We do that for you, Bruce Campbell.
I know you're still alive, but...
That is true. Bruce Campbell is my spirit animal. I commune with him through the great nature.
Mm-hmm. That chin. Oh, wait. We should... Sorry. We diverge. We divulge. We were saying goodbye.
We digress.
Yeah.
Anyway, we love watching these movies. We like talking about the bad, the ugly, and the worst with this, but we also watch old movies, and we talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, and the iconic. We just started a brand new series where we're going through the Evil Dead. Speaking of Bruce Campbell, may he reign.
May he reign.
But we also watch the Godzilla films together, and then with DJ, our other host, he and I are watching Mel Brooks and the Universal monster movies. We also try to do new movie reviews every now and then, and we are possibly in the works of doing a couple of other fun things on the channel. So if that all interests you, be sure to subscribe if you haven't already, and share us with your friends if they like movies just as much as we do. Otherwise, we'll see you guys in the next video.
Be good.